Welcome back to Rosie, Rooted and Rising. And today we are closing out season 2. I want to pause there for a moment because this season has carried some weight. We have talked about growth, identity, boundaries, leadership, discernment, healing, and the quiet cost of staying too long in rooms that no longer fit who you are becoming. We have talked about what happens when your growth threatens the room. We have talked about realizing the room was too small. And last week we talked about reclaiming what that room made you doubt. So today, I do not want to end this season by staying inside the pain of those rooms. I want to end it by turning toward what comes next. Because there comes a point in a woman's life when the question shifts. It is no longer only, why did that happen? It becomes, what am I going to build with the wisdom I have now? That is where I want us to land today. The title of this season 2 finale is Build the Room You Needed. Not from bitterness, not from revenge, not from needing to prove anything to people who did not see you clearly. Build it from wisdom, from faith, from the steadiness that comes when you know what you lived through, but you refuse to let it make you hard. Some experiences do more than hurt you. They teach you what was missing. They show you where care was absent, where leadership was shallow, where truth was inconvenient, where people were protected more than purpose. That does not make the pain good. I need to say that clearly. We do not have to romanticize what wounded us in order to be grateful for what God can bring out of it. There is a difference between calling pain good and recognizing that God can redeem what pain tried to take. Redemption means God can use what happened to make you wiser, clearer, more compassionate, and more intentional. He can use the very place that tried to silence you to sharpen your voice. He can use the environment that made you question yourself to teach you how to build spaces where other people do not have to shrink to survive. The scripture I want to hold over this finale is Proverbs 24, 3 and 4. By wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge, its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures. I love that because it reminds us that building is not only about desire. Wanting something better is beautiful, but wanting it is not enough. Building well requires wisdom. It requires understanding, knowledge, patience, structure, humility, and prayer. And here is the part that matters. If you are going to build differently, you cannot build only from what hurt you. Pain may point to what needs to change, but wisdom has to decide how you change it. That is where many of us have to slow down, because after you have been dismissed, overlooked, underestimated, or mishandled, it is natural to want to protect yourself. It is natural to want to make sure nobody ever puts you in that position again. But if healing does not walk you into the building, you can accidentally recreate the very thing that hurt you, just with your name on the door. You can become controlling because you were once ignored. You can become guarded because you were once exposed. You can become suspicious of every correction because correction used to come with humiliation. You can become hard in places where God is still trying to keep you whole. That is why this next room cannot be built only out of reaction. It has to be built out of alignment. You do not have to be fully healed before God uses you. I do not believe that. If that were true, none of us would ever move forward. But you do not have to be honest. I'm sorry, but you do have to be honest about what is still tender. You have to recognize the difference between a healthy boundary and a wall that keeps everyone out. You have to know when peace is being protected and when fear is making the decision. That is mature work, and it matters because wherever you build will carry the spirit you bring into it. That room may be your business, it may be your family, it may be your friendships, it may be your ministry, it may be your podcast, it may be your leadership role, it may be the way you are rebuilding your life after loss, disappointment, divorce, layoff, transition, or change. Wherever you have influence, you are building something. So the question becomes, what do I want the room to feel like? Do you want it to be a place where growth is welcomed instead of feared? A place where leadership is not confused with control? A place where correction can happen with dignity? Or a place where wisdom is invited, not treated like a threat? Those questions are not just for organizations, they are for your life. Because sometimes the most important room you will ever build is the one inside yourself. The place where you stop abandoning your own knowing. The place where your peace is no longer the first thing you sacrifice to keep everyone else comfortable. That is part of building differently. Many of us were trained to believe that being needed meant being valuable. So we became dependable to the point of depletion. We became helpful until it started costing us our health, our joy, our clarity, and our own dreams. We learned to be strong in ways that made it easy for other people to forget we were human. But the next room cannot be built on your exhaustion. The next chapter cannot require you to disappear. If God is enlarging your life, He is not asking you to destroy your peace in the process. A wise woman learns to ask herself better questions before she builds. Can I carry this without betraying myself? Is this aligned with the woman I am becoming? Do I have the support, structure, and capacity for this? Is this God opening a door, or is this me trying to force one because waiting feels uncomfortable? Those are the kind of questions that protect the room before the room is even built. And let me say this with care. Building the room you needed does not mean you become everything for everybody. Just because you can help does not mean God is asking you to be the one to fix it. Just because you understand the problem does not mean you are supposed to become the solution at the expense of your own well-being. The room you build must have room for you too. Not the overextended version of you, not the version that keeps smiling while resentment grows underneath, but the version that says, I'm fine, when your body has already told the truth. That is not selfish. That is stewardship. When you protect your capacity, you protect the quality of what you are building. When you honor your peace, you stop bringing chaos into rooms that are supposed to carry purpose. When you stop over functioning, You leave space for other people to grow, contribute, and take responsibility. That is a shift many of us have to make, especially as women over 50, because by now we have carried a lot. We have held families together. We have shown up for jobs that did not always value us. So when we talk about building now, we are not talking about building from hustle alone. We're talking about building from self leadership. Self leadership asks, can I lead this next chapter without losing myself, without being harsh, without closing my heart? It asks, can I build with structure and still leave room for God? That last question is important because after you have felt powerless in a room, it can be tempting to over control the next one. You want to control the timing, the response, the outcome, the way people see you, the way the vision unfolds, and whether anyone ever misunderstands you again. That is how a wise woman builds. She does not build from panic. She does not build to make the old room jealous. She does not build to convince people who already decided not to see her. She builds because purpose has been placed in her hands, and she has finally stopped apologizing for carrying it. And here is another piece of wisdom. Building the room you needed does not mean everyone gets the same access. Some people can love you from a distance. Some people can know of you without being close to you. Some people can be forgiven without being restored to the same seat in your life. That is not bitterness, that is wisdom. You do not hand every person a key to the place where God is rebuilding your confidence. You do not give every opinion access to the early stages of your vision. You do not keep explaining your assignment to people who have shown you they are more interested in questioning you than understanding you. Do not let a small room convince you that every room is unsafe. Let it teach you. Let it refine you. Let it sharpen your discernment. But do not let it close your heart. You are still allowed to walk into rooms where peace is present and not have to look over your shoulder the whole time. And when you find those rooms, participate differently. Do not enter already apologizing for your presence. Pay attention, move with wisdom, but stay open enough to experience something better. Because the next room starts inside you before it shows up around you. As we close season 2, I want you to look back over your own life for a moment. Think about the rooms you survived, the roles you outgrew, the conversations you kept hoping would change, the moments you knew something was off but did not yet have the language for it, the times you swallowed your wisdom because speaking it came with a cost. Now think about the woman you are becoming. She is not the same woman who entered those rooms. She knows more now. She sees more clearly now. She may still be healing, but she is no longer asleep to herself. That matters. Do not minimize it. There is a particular strength that rises in a woman when she stops arguing with what she knows. There is a steadiness that comes when she stops negotiating with smallness. There is a quiet confidence that grows when she realizes her life is not over just because one room could not hold her. That is where season 2 leaves us. Not with everything figured out, not with a perfect plan, not with every wound fully healed, but with a clearer woman. A woman who knows her peace matters, who understands that growth will change her rooms, a woman who can leave without becoming bitter, a woman who is reclaiming her voice and learning how to build differently. And gorgeous, that woman is you. So before we close this season, I want to give you a few questions to sit with for the next few weeks. Not to overwhelm you, not to make you start another project before you are ready, just to help you listen to your life with honesty. What kind of room do I want to build in this next season of my life? What values need to shape me? What boundaries need to protect it? What support do I need so I am not building from exhaustion? Where do I need to make room for my own growth? And maybe the most important question is, am I willing to become the kind of woman who can carry the room I have been praying for? That question is not meant to shame you. It is meant to strengthen you. Because sometimes we ask God for expansion while still holding on to patterns that cannot sustain it. We ask for peace, but keep saying yes to chaos. We ask for alignment, but keep entertaining what drains us. We ask for new doors, but stay emotionally tied to the old ones. This season has been inviting you to tell the truth. Truth is not always comfortable, but truth gives you a clean place to stand. It helps you stop performing. It helps you stop pretending smallness is safety. It helps you build a place that is honest enough for God to work with. As you move toward what is next, I want you to carry this with you. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to need more room. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to build differently, to create a life that has room for the woman you are now, not only the woman everyone got used to. That is where we are ending season 2. Rooted, clearer, wiser, still becoming, and ready to rise differently. If today's episode resonated with you, follow the show, leave a review, and share it with another woman who's rising or someone in your life who needs it. Follow on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and if you're listening on YouTube, like and subscribe so you don't miss what's next on Rosie, Rooted and Rising. Until next time, sis y hermana, stay rooted, stay blessed, and keep rising. New episodes every Monday morning. Season 3 will start on July 6, 2026.